Hey, Zane Griggs here. So I've got a question for you. You're probably familiar with the glycemic index. So which of these foods, that's the index, I'll explain it a little more, but that's the index that determines the greatest impact of a food on our blood sugar. So which of these foods do you think has the highest glycemic index? Slice of wheat bread, serving of oatmeal, table sugar, okay, so like a tablespoon, whatever, table sugar, or a banana. So wheat bread, oatmeal, table sugar, or a banana. Now, for those of you who don't know, aren't familiar with the glycemic index, it's on a scale of typically 1 to 100. There are some sweeteners that actually go above 100, but 100 is what we like straight glucose. So if you go to the doctor and they're doing an insulin or blood sugar test, you've had to fast all night. A lot of times they test this for, to see where your blood sugar is, if they're worried about you being pre-diabetic or diabetic or just a general physical. See how your body responds to glucose, how quickly, insulin responds and pulls that blood sugar back out of your body, because sugar in our system is a toxin, right? So glucose is 100. Okay, so typically they measure most foods somewhere between 0 and 100, right? But glucose, straight up glucose sugar, okay, is 100. Table sugar is a mix of glucose and fructose, about 50-50. So this straight up glucose, you drink that stuff, it's nasty, and then they see what your blood sugar does and how long it takes to come back down. So basically it has the greatest impact on insulin. And insulin, when it's released, its purpose is to pull that sugar out of your system, out of your bloodstream, because it is toxic in that, those kind of levels for very long. And it moves it hopefully into muscle cells, and then what doesn't get put in the muscle cells, especially if you're insulin resistant a little bit, but just whatever fills those up, after it fills those up, it moves it into fat cells. So we store it as fat. So most of what we eat is sugar. When we have a big spike of insulin from a high glycemic food, generally ends up getting stored as fat, because there's no way we can burn all that off. Now if you're drinking some kind of like a Gatorade, something like that, which is kind of high in sugar, but you're actually running on a field somewhere, and then you're going to burn some of that off. You're actually in the process of playing a sport or doing an event or running, training like a long, like hour or two of training, endurance training, then yeah, okay, you're probably going to burn a lot of that off. But for most of us who are just in normal day-to-day life, we don't need that much sugar. And we don't need all those carbs. So those are all carbs. I didn't mention any spinach or coconut oil or an olive or an avocado, because those things don't really have much of an impact on blood sugar. And we can eat those with very little impact and really get back into a fat burning phase and start, burning the fuel that we're most efficient at burning, that's best for our brain, best for our system, and is low in inflammation, and that is burning fat. Whether it's fat we eat or our body fat, keeping insulin low allows us to burn more body fat. And even the leanest of us, even I have enough body fat on my body to already stored. Okay, not that I need to eat some, but I eat fat, but stored body fat to run a marathon. Okay, it's just a matter of tapping into it. Yes, 9-10% body fat. You have enough body fat there to run a marathon without fueling in any other way. Okay, so controlling electrolytes, that's a different thing with sodium, potassium, but purely fuel, I got enough body fat here to run a marathon without anything else. So we have a lot of fuel already stored in our bodies. Now, I'm going to get to your answer for you real quick so you understand where I'm coming from, because I think there's been a misconception about what types of food we should be eating for fuel, and what is considered healthy, and what really has what kind of impact certain foods have that we've been maybe sold or oversold on their benefit. So, as I told you, glucose has a 100, has a score of 100, so it's straight up sugar. The oatmeal is at about 55, depending on what you look at, which I went by a Harvard study, the Harvard scale, but it's right around 55 on that scale. If you do instant oatmeal, it's closer to 79, so a little bit higher if you do the instant. Table sugar is, depending on what you look at, 65 to 68 on that scale. So like I told you, that's half glucose, half fructose, which is fructose is the sugar that naturally occurs in fruit. A lot of it's in honey, agave nectar, that kind of stuff. A banana, 48 to maybe 50, depending on which one you're looking at. 51 sometimes, depending on which index you're looking at, which scale, how they rated it. But generally about 48 to 50. And the wheat bread is actually at, it's the highest, believe it or not, at 69 on average. So average, this is Harvard now, average wheat bread in the store, 69. Of course, white bread's higher. Now there are some really heavily grained, heavy fibered wheat breads out there that, you know, super organic with a bunch of, you know, seeds and 100% whole grain, all that kind of stuff that could come down to 51-ish, 52, right in there, low 50s, mid 50s. That's the lowest end of it though. Okay, so that's like super grainy, you're gonna be chewing on that stuff. Your average wheat bread that most people pick up in the store, which a lot of times has high fructose corn syrup or honey added to it for flavor, but your average wheat bread is actually above that of table sugar. Kind of crazy, huh? Kind of crazy. And the banana that we're all supposed to be so scared of, oh, don't eat this. You see the little quizzes online. Don't eat this food if you want to lose weight. Banana, right? Okay, it's the lowest of all those three. Okay, 4. Lower than oatmeal. Definitely lower than table sugar, but wheat bread's got the highest, higher than table sugar because of the starches, because of the wheat, the gluten. For some reason, gluten seems to really elevate our blood sugars. Okay, so you put gluten in there with glucose, and you've got the blood sugars heading straight up. So yeah, there's some fiber in there, but between the gluten and the glucose, we got insulin going straight up. And again, that's blood sugar. That's not good for us to have high blood sugar. It slows the impact, or it basically slows our fat burning, or halts our fat burning, natural fat burning, and increases our risk for insulin resistance, which we all kind of move towards as we age, some faster than others. But the more we keep elevating insulin and pounding those muscle cells with insulin, the less they want to respond. So we've got to kind of lower our carb intake, eat more veggies, fibrous veggies, lower impact carbs, or technically low sugar fruits, kind of like zucchinis, tomatoes, peppers. Those kind of things are energy food, as well as fattier foods like avocado, using coconut oil, olive oil, even olives, and the natural fat occurring in our proteins for energy, and using fat for energy rather than a bunch of starchy carbs. We just don't need them. And again, unless you're out there running an endurance race, most of us just don't need that much carb coming in. So think about that. You know, don't believe everything you see when you see that, you know, natural written or super healthy or a good, you know, heart healthy food kind of, you know, smattered across this food. You know, it's a label. It's a marketing label, not a health label. So if you have any questions about this, feel free to comment below. I'm happy to answer them. I know it can be kind of confusing, and that's why I'm telling you this, because it is so confusing. There's a lot of mixed messages, and it's kind of hard to figure out with all the, you know, you mix up the truly healthy labels or healthy concepts with what has been marketed to us as healthy, and just again, it gets very confusing. So feel free, comment below if you know someone that can benefit from this. Please tag them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you later.